All right, well, we have alien bodies, and we have DNA to prove it. Those aren't my words, but rather the words of scientists who stood before the Mexican Congress yesterday during a UFO hearing to show alien bodies and the DNA evidence that they have and X-rays of the bodies. I mean, X-rays, DNA evidence, and the bodies themselves. By the way, I should just point out, this is always what, like, our viewers call out and talk about, right? I mean,
prove it.
Prove it. Show us the bodies. Show us the craft. Yeah. Show us the materials. Show us the actual UFOs. So they literally, like, you know what? We're done with this now. We're not going to just show you pictures anymore and videos. We're going to wheel out the bodies in coffins and show them to you here in front of Mexican Congress. Here was the amazing moment. This is ufologist Jaime Massaun, who brought out what he says are small alien bodies into Congress, and he showed them off. So I'm going to talk over what he says here. So he says, there are beings, non-humans, who are our terrestrial evolution, that are not of our terrestrial evolution, that are after disappearing for 1,000 years. We don't know where they were. This is a subsequent evolution, according to the University National Autonomous Government of Mexico, who carried out the analysis of these bodies, of these carbon bodies. 14 of these beings are around 1,000 years old. Of antiquity, he says. That is, they are not beings of that were recovered in birds or crashes, meaning UFO crashes, that these were actual bodies that were buried in mines in Peru of diatoms or diatomaceous earth, which is a bug, basically a phytoplankton. So it was there with 17 million phytoplankton. And it was hidden in these caves. So they were sort of mummified as a result of being in these diatomaceous caves in Peru, and where they got these bodies.
Okay, can I point out the obvious, that it really looks like E.T.?
Does it look like E.T.?
Don't you think? Except the smaller head.
Isn't that what Steven Spielberg based it on? Like the idea that, based on eyewitness testimony, that's what the idea for E.T. came from?
I have no idea.
I don't know the exact point of that.
What I saw, it looks... Like if you look at it, it looks like you even see the prints from like clay. It looks like somebody made it out of clay.
Well, we have some photos, and we also have some more video here we're going to show here, so you guys can make the determination of it. So Jaime Massaun was under oath and addressed members of the Mexican government and U.S. officials, briefing them about the findings. He said that the UFO specimens were recently studied at the Autonomous National University of Mexico, where scientists analyzed DNA evidence using radiocarbon dating. So, you know, these are some of so here they took them out of these coffins, lifted them up, and showed off the bodies here. And, you know, these do look very similar to some of the Nazca bodies from Peru that were debunked back in 2017. Now, and Jaime Massaun was involved in that. Gaia TV at the time was working on a big feature where they were going to show off these bodies that they had found, these Nazca Peruvian bodies from 2017. These are not those, but those were then found to not be, those were human, 100% human after they did the DNA tests. However, they did find like metallic objects inside of those bodies, which were they couldn't identify. So these are the new bodies. Okay. But when I was doing the analysis and looking at comparative from the 2017, they look very, very similar. I'll show those in a second here. So they used DNA evidence using radiocarbon dating. After comparisons were made to other DNA samples, they say that over 30% of the specimen's DNA was unknown. X-rays of the specimens were also shown during this testimony, and experts testifying under oath that one of the bodies seemed to have eggs inside. So here, you can look at these photos a little bit more closely here. And yeah, here are the photos of the eggs, they say, inside the body. They say that there are eggs inside of here, and they had showed off multiple X-rays of the brain, of the body itself, the body cavity. And what are these so-called eggs inside of the body, according to the scientists? Again, these are scientists who do this for a living. They're presenting their evidence. This is not me. This is them. Now, as I mentioned before, that Jaime Massaun was associated with this alien discovery, which was later found out to be these 5 mummies in Peru in 2017, were later shown to be human children after DNA analysis, but they had elongated skulls, And from what my memory, here are those Nazca from Peru. These are the 2017 Nazca aliens. And here's a close-up of them as well. And they had like 3 fingers as well. Don't they look similar? I mean, to me, they look similar.
I think they look damn near identical
to the ones that we're now seeing brought before Congress in Mexico. So if these were human, but again, what they're saying is that the DNA analysis of these new ones that they have, these 14 or so, are non-human, and there's 30% of the DNA is not of this earth. Okay. And there's some sort of, weird body structure and eggs in the body cavity, etc. I will tell a little story. I went out to Gaia TV in Boulder, Colorado, and when I was there in 2017, I was there during this revelation about these Nazca mummies. And I talked to a number of their staff members about them, specifically as they were working on this project. They were very excited about this project. They were very excited about what they were learning in Peru. And they were doing a lot of promotional videos. They did they had that whole documentary series and so forth. And of course, they were saying they believed internally that these were in fact aliens. And then the DNA results were coming out showing that these were not. But I remember it being at Gaia at the time when I was there. I didn't work there, but I was there behind the scenes for a little while and talking to those individuals. And they really thought that this was the big story. Like they really, really thought that this was, and they were working with Jaime directly. And so, but then it got debunked and then it kind of fizzled out. And so I don't know, are we about to see a repeat of the 2017 incident? I mean, he's testifying under oath. Right, these scientists are testifying under oath in front of Congress there that these are the DNA results, and these bodies were found in these caves in these sort of fossilized conditions. Yeah, go ahead, David.
Well, I was just going to say, you'd have to think there's a way that we read DNA because we have DNA, so they have machines and everything set up to read our DNA, and so maybe there's been advances. But how would they know that it was like if it doesn't have the same structure? Like, what are they bringing into to even see a structure of DNA? You know what I mean? Like, so. For them to make what I'm getting at is the conclusion in 2017, if there's been advances in the technology to where they can see DNA, maybe that's the difference.
I don't know. I mean 2017. Yeah, go ahead.
They've had the human genome sequence for quite a while.
So they know. They can recognize the human genome. Now, if they're seeing that 30% of it is not human, right? They're saying, well, this is not part of the human genome. We know the full mapping of the human genome, to Philip's point. So now what is this 30% that's it's not of this earth? We don't have anything in our database to recognize this. It's interesting. It's an interesting moment. It's interesting that Congress is, of course, taking up this again. Nancy Mace releasing a video over the past 24 hours, Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who was on the UAP committee hearing, saying, we will absolutely want to be pushing more for this. We also heard from other members of Congress over the past 24 hours that are pushing more for this. So are we about to hear some sort of larger disclosure? Why are we hearing about this now? Are we hearing about this? Now, remember, these are Republicans, right? So if you might be saying, well, this is a distraction because of impeachment proceedings, right? Well, these are Republicans that are pushing for this. So separate from a Biden impeachment, right? And you have NASA coming out tomorrow with a big press conference, and Bill Nelson, head of NASA, will be there. So we'll be keeping our eye on exactly what this means. What is NASA going to announce? Are they going to announce their own committee to investigate UFOs, which would be like the fifth committee now that we've got? Like we've got Pentagon, we've got the House, we've got the Senate, we've got NASA also.
I mean, and if these are the aliens that are coming to Earth, are we not going to be the biggest bullies in the world? It's going to look like we're killing babies if we attack them with Space Force.
Well,
Space Force.
Yeah.
With their, Space Force just got their new huge increased budget also. Again, I want anyone who's new to this show, who's never watched this before, I want you to understand something. Like, I really believe that they are using the fear factor of whatever, these craft are, human, man-made or not, that have been used to, reverse engineering these craft that we have in our possession. And they're using it, members of Congress and the Pentagon are going to use it as a fear factor in order to get more money for the military-industrial complex. That's exactly my position on this. I believe that 100%. And so it's very important to decouple these things. Yes, they do exist. Yes, we've been reverse engineering them. But yes, they're also using them for nefarious purposes, and they want to get more money out of us. So they're going to scare us with some big events. I've been hearing from some insiders that are really worried about big false flag events. Some insiders who've sent me information, they're really trying to warn us. Like, they're like, please let your audience know. They really believe like false flag events are coming in a big, big way, that they're going to use sort of 9/11 style false flag events to scare us into things.
All right. Well, let's all keep a cool, level head about it then,
Yeah.
huh?
Keep our eyes out for any big false flag events that might unfold very, very soon. They're drumming up the interest in all of that. So let us know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.